Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL here on a Thursday evening with more action from the F2 tier, which is really starting to heat up now. And we've had a circuit which you traditionally see towards the beginning of the season, but we've got it heading towards the end now. We are at Albert Park, Melbourne, for the Australian Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge. Joining me, as always, in the commentary box tonight is Chris Buxton. And Chris, how are you doing?
Very, very well, thank you. Really looking forward to this. Now, Melbourne is a bit of a Marmite circuit. I'm less keen on this circuit than I am on others, but in the sim racing world, anything is possible. Yeah, a track that, in its real life, guys, is less entertaining, can really come alive in its sim racing variant. So, this track is not an easy one to overtake on. Overtaking opportunities have been made easier with the changes that were made in time for 2021, but it's not it's not going to be an overtaking fest. There's going to be a fair amount of pressure management going on here. Let's see how our competitors do this week.
Yeah, let's see how they do this week. Last time around, it was a very interesting Belgian Grand Prix. It looked for the world as it was going to be a straightforward victory for Will Lewis. Then there was a late safety car, but the young Englishman proved to be good enough to take the victory there. And with Ismail Fassi still scoring points, but perhaps not having the race that he would have wanted, that gap has really come down at the top of the Drivers' Championship. You can see it there on screen. 71 points now for Ismail Fassi. Will Lewis just a further 9 back. Duncan Hoffland, Ika Baena, Mirko Soriano, all still with a fairly decent mathematical chance, but really cannot afford a bad race tonight. It is possible, if things go badly enough for Duncan, Ika and Mirko, that we could end up with just a 2-horse race for the championship. I mean, Chris, we saw last time around just how quickly things can change. It was starting to look as though Ismail was running away with things. Didn't have his best race last time around. Will absolutely dominant, and it's looking as close as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. So only 9 points between Ishmael and Will, and only a further 10 back to Duncan Hoffland, scoring a podium last time out in the Aston Martin, and the third podium scorer, having not scored for 3 consecutive rounds, and then comes back with a third. Ika Baena, the early championship leader in F2 this season, still hanging on in there. And in fairness, only a couple of points further back again is Mirko Soriano. So not too far out of the running, but with only 3 rounds left, he's going to need a little bit more luck than possibly some other competitors. But that's not to say there aren't other battles going on. If you look at the next 3 places, whilst a further 16 points back, Max Wiesel, Channing Kinchi and Daniel Kuija, all separated by just 2 points between them. And then you've got another really close collection. Jeffrey Ritchie, who isn't here this week, Dylan Warren, Harvey Cohen, Caden Lute, rather than Layden Cute. Don't know who that is. Maybe it's his brother. But yeah, we only have 4, I believe, reported absences. So Xander Van Dyken being replaced by Jack West. Ben Sabaconi is replaced by Ogiano. Rudy replaces Jeffrey Ritchie. And Christoph Zeller replaces Dylan Warren. Countdown begins. It is time to head trackside in Melbourne.
Yeah, it won't be too long before we are able to get underway for the qualifying session. It's going to be quite a crucial session, of course. Now, for those of you who've watched F1 yesterday, you've seen the full qualifying. This is a bit more what you're used to. This is your 18-minute short qualifying that you are going to see here before a 29-lap race around what is now an extremely fast street-like circuit, of course. Quite a few changes made to this track. Really looking forward to seeing what the drivers can do. But before we head into the qualifying session, the Williams Esports Lounge has opened this week. So let's take a quick look at what it's like inside. Yeah, it's quite damp, as you can see, out there at the moment. It is definitely going to be a very interesting start to qualifying here. We'll see what we'll see what it heads like towards the end of the qualifying session. But this is something that Melbourne is known for. We've heard it before, said that you can pretty much get 4 seasons in one day around this circuit. So, yeah, it could be a very intriguing qualifying session. No one rushing out there at the moment. Whether that means we are going to get some dry weather later on in this qualifying session remains to be seen. But drivers have been finding this track tricky in practice, judging by what they've been saying. So whether this is going to be helpful or a hindrance remains to be seen. But we are 1 minute into the qualifying session. No one really rushing to get out there.
Kind of makes me think that like you say, Luke, that either the qualifying session is going to dry up later or we're in for a dry race. So no one's bothering to get out there in a hurry. But the first one to break cover is Ismail Farsi. Everybody has got the intermediate tyres strapped on. No one going for full wets. Absolutely, that is right. There's no standing water to be found, but there is a steady light rain out there at the moment. And just riding on board with the Haas, Ismail is just really, really ginger with the right foot. He's very, very delicate in applying the throttle. Just, straight out of the pits, the tyres nowhere near operating temperature. It's so easy just to chuck the car into the wall. Seen it many times in the real world and in sim racing world. So, yeah, they've got to be careful about how they go about things. A few more people now coming out, but I think this qualifying session isn't going to be quite the kind of rapid-fire affair that we've seen all season thus far.
No, what we normally get with these wet qualifying sessions is the drivers start off a bit slower in qualifying. They'll do a few laps, fuel the car up, get a bit of a feeling for the track conditions. Yes, they'll have practiced in the wet, certainly around Melbourne. As we said, it is a circuit where you are used to getting a tiny bit of rain, so they will have done some practice, but putting more fuel in just gives you that chance to get multiple laps in and to get a bit of a feel from the track conditions. Doing it in Grand Prix mode and time trial is never quite the same as doing it in the actual session, and it is going to be our championship leader on his way down towards turn number 1, then 5th gear. That's normally one of the DRS zones. That Haas looking a bit squirrely through there, and that then leads normally in the right to a second DRS zone, where you usually see more of the overtaking on the run down towards turn number 3, where Fernando Alonso and Esteban Gutierrez had that horrendous accident way back in 2016. Through turn number 4 there, watching out this part of the circuit. Normally a car park. That curve at turn number 5 can easily spin you round. Now onto one of the reprofiled corners. Turn number 6, an earlier apex, slightly faster than what it used to be, allows the drivers to carry more momentum through 6, 7 and 8. And this is of course where you've seen the major changes. Gone is that chicane. It is now a flat out section. The speed climbing, the slipstreaming will happen through here and through the always difficult turn 9 and 10 chicane. Do not be too greedy on the first part because it will compromise your run through the second. That curb on the left can easily send the car spinning towards the right hand side. Expect to see a few cars heading round at that part of the circuit. Turn number 11 has been made sharper in an effort to improve overtaking opportunities, and Isma just snatching a front right breakdown, running very wide indeed. Then in towards turn number 12, turn number 13 and 14, this fiddly, slow section that ends the lap, very, again, street circuit-esque. This is basically a street circuit held in Albert Park in Australia, all temporary facilities. And Ismail Fassi heads towards the finish line, 1:25.262, kind of the time that you would have seen on the old layout of the Albert Park circuit. But this new one obviously is meant to be a lot faster. I feel there's a lot more pace in the bag there for Isma.
Yeah, true enough. And if the rain is going to relent as the session continues, then that time, of course, will plummet down through the floor. Who else is next to set a lap on the board? Well, Drake Dempsey has crossed the line, but with an invalid time. Duncan Hoffland, who is in third in the championship, has put a 25.349 in. As Patro Ogiano, 25.330, just shy of 200ths ahead of Duncan Hoffland. Various yellow flags out there, nothing to really worry about at this stage because people just finding the grip and probably losing the grip in the course of their respective laps. Any more times on the board? Jordan Poland to 27.2, Max Wiesel 25.4. So we're still seeing, for the most part, fairly close times coming in. Harvey Cohen 25.4 as well. Difficult to kind of know who's really pushing at this stage. Your rain is always described as the great equalizer, but also not everybody is as proficient or as confident in the rain as they will be in the dry. They know almost instinctively how the car is going to behave in the dry. You've got a lot of unknowns in the wet. So we'll see how the session goes on. The other Haas, Vika Baena, former championship leader, as we said, 25-0 on the board. And again, because the rain isn't that heavy, the track will improve as the session continues. And it won't be unusual like Ishmael has. He's done a couple of laps on this set of tyres. That's nothing unusual for the intermediates. Keeping an eye on the rain, it is really, really light. He's likely to get lighter, I think, just judging by the cloud cover. It's not very dark up north, so the times will continue to drop as I'm riding on board with Will Lewis. A little bit uncomfortable through turn 11 and 12 in the Red Bull. Hey, tail nearly getting away from him. Bit deep again into 13. That's because he couldn't get the car slowed down as much as he would like from turn 12. Now through the final turn. I would imagine that's compromised his time a little bit. Start line is quite a way down the road. 25.5 for the Red Bull. Plenty of pace still out there to find.
Yeah, I think I saw Valentin Divard as well. He had quite a big slide through one of the corners, so I believe he may have backed off of his lap time. Ismail Fassi slightly up through the first couple of sectors, only by 0.05 of a second. And like Chris said, we're going to see drivers putting in multiple laps. Daniel Coyer has shot himself up in towards second place, so that's a very good job from him. A man who seems to be constantly in the points, has done really well since his promotion from the F3 tier last season. Let's see what Ismail Fassi can do. Possibly his last lap on this set of tyres. Heads towards the finish line and just about beats his teammate. 1:25.018 for championship leader. Goes fastest of everyone for now. Now, you might notice we've got 4 drivers that have yet to set a time. Christoph Scheller, Isran Puki, Mirko Soriano and Caden Lute. We can tell you with full confidence that we won't be seeing any time from Mirko Soriano. He has a qualifying ban. You might remember there was all sorts of incidents going off at the beginning and at the end of the race last week. Most drivers, I think, got caught up in something. There was a lot of stewards' inquiries. 5-second penalty for Harvey Cohen. We had a qualifying ban for Isran Puki, so he's also going to be staying in there. Jack West goes fastest of everyone on a 1:24.847. So yeah, Harvey Cohen with penalties. Drake Dempsey had a 5-second penalty. Mirko Soriano with a qualifying ban. Valentin Divard has a 5-second penalty to serve tonight. Jeffrey Ritchie also had a 5-second penalty last time around. I hope you got all that, because I'm not sure if I can remember enough about it to repeat that again. So many drivers finding it quite tricky. And Harvey Cohen now goes fastest of everyone on a 1:24.7. I mean, tonight could be another one. We're heading towards the end of the season. A lot of these drivers sort of with nothing to lose. And as we've already said, it's not the easiest circuit to make moves on.
No, indeed. And if this rain is going to persist into the race, then that's really going to spice things up. You'll have those at the top of the championship that will be exercising a little bit more caution because, as we've said, there are very few rounds left of the season. There are only 3, including this one. So they haven't got the time to recover from a bad round anymore. And exactly as you say, those with less to lose will be kind of looking to prove themselves out there. Oh, Matt Older has lost his nose. I thought he was stationary. I didn't quite see what he did. I just saw where he did it, which was around turn 6. So he's decided to turn his car into a boat. It's now slightly more canoe-like, that Mercedes, as he paddles his way back to replace the nose on his car. Only the 2 Ferraris without a time. So they are both serving qualifying bans. They are allowed to come out on track. They are not allowed to set a time that would put them further up the field. So Mirko Soriano is actually out there, but he's unlikely to set a time in this session.
Yeah, very possible if he did end up setting a time, he could be faced with a disqualification and then another qualifying ban. This is looking like a good lap from Will Lewis. Should be a 1:24 at least. Yeah, 1:24.798 slots him in between Harvey Cohen and Jack West at the moment, and more importantly for him, ahead of his championship rival, well, his main championship rival, Ismail Fassi. Now, you might not be surprised to know, seeing as both their drivers are still in the championship hunt, that things are looking very good indeed for the Haas team in terms of the constructor standings at the moment. They have 121 points, 37 ahead of Aston Martin, their nearest challengers. It is mathematically possible that Haas could win the championship tonight, but they would need a very good race, and Aston Martin, Red Bull and even Ferrari would need a very bad race. So that's something we'll keep one eye on if it looks like that situation is going to befall. But I think basically Haas would need a 1-2 or even a 1-3, and very poor races for some of the other teams for that even to be a factor. Christoph Scheller's showing us having the soft tyres.
I was going to say, he's flirting with the softs. I think not, sir. I think that would be somewhat foolhardy.
I mean, I think we had this last season at USA. I seem to remember Flovis Fires going out onto the soft tyres when it was clearly not wet. Someone made a very good point that a lot of these drivers, to make it a bit easier in the wet, turn off some of the graphical effects. So when it's very light rain, you can't actually tell that it's very light rain. You might think it's fairly dry. Adika Bayena goes fastest of everyone on a 1:24.655, one of the first drivers to complete his lap on a fresh set of tyres. You might think it's perfectly dry, and it is, as you can clearly see, it is quite a long way off being dry at the moment. Daniel Koya, he's improving, so this could also be a 1:24 time that we've seen. Gianpietro Oggiano, he's got himself up in towards the top 5 at the moment on that 1:24.9, a man we normally see on the PlayStation side alongside Tycho Hardy, who's down in 16th at the moment. But let's see what the AlphaTauri can do through the final few corners. Turn number 11, very tight, a lot tighter than it used to be in an effort to try and improve overtaking around the Albert Park circuit. Didn't see loads last year around there as Buell and Feather moves up to 3rd, but drivers definitely seem to prefer this new layout as Koya just fighting with a throttle, trying to get the torque from that Red Bull powertrain engine onto the ground. Just about managed to do so, gets himself provisionally onto the front row, and that's what we were seeing. The track is definitely improving at the moment. This could be one of those where, if you're the last car out there, on a fresh set of intermediates perhaps, you could be in a very good place.
Yeah, the rain is falling hard enough to keep the slicks out of commission, but not hard enough that the track won't improve. So as the laps continue, as the rain is, or as the water is pushed away from the racing line, then the signs will continue to dry. I'm watching Jordan Poland. It's still slippery out there as that Williams is sliding all over the place. He's just set a time for 10th. And someone else has just crossed the line. Shanna Kinchi up into 5th, 1:24.795. So he's, 13 thousandths behind Bowlin Farrar. As Harvey Cohen, the second of the McLarens, has just started another time lap. 5 minutes to go. And I said earlier, it probably wasn't going to be a rapid-fire qualifying session. Well, I owe me of little faith. This is exactly what we've got as Istvan Pukki has parked the car. Again, as we said, he has a qualifying ban along with his teammate Mirko Siriano, who correctly has not set a time. So Mirko is back into the pit. I'm keeping an eye on Harvey Cohen. He's just coming through turn 8 into sector 2, screaming along Lakeside Drive now. Who hugs the inside line, the long left-hander. Now turns 9 and 10. Ishmael Farsi now flirting with the soft tyres as well. Be my guest, but I think you'll bury the car into the wall if you do. Through towards turn 11 as the second Ferrari has retired from the session. Absolutely correct behaviour from those two. Utilising all of the runoff area is Harvey Cohen through 12, 13. A little bit uncomfortable coming through there. Final turn. Should just about have enough time if he gets on with it to have another go. If he's not happy with this one, what does he do? 24.757 is his previous time. That's a 24.578, which puts the McLaren onto pole.
Yeah, very nice lap indeed there from Harvey Cohen. I was on board with Ismail Fassi on his earlier run. It just looked as though he had absolutely no grip out there. We've seen a few other drivers slide around the place, but he looked as though he was just driving on ice compared to the other drivers. He's down in 12th place at the moment. He's back onto the intermediates, which again is the only correct choice out there. It's the only tyres you need to be on, as Jack West was never getting that stopped in a month of Sundays coming into turn number 11. Way too hot on the brakes. I think even if it had been dry conditions, he might have struggled to get that one slowed down in time. But he was the fastest man of all at one bit. He's now down in 8th place. That just shows how much things have evolved around this track. Gianpietro Oggiano, he's on a fresh set of tyres. He's not able to find anything at the moment. Duncan Hoffland just trying to build up some pace. So all seem to be gathering around the final corners for cars that are still out on track. In the final, 2-3 minutes that we've got in this session, most of the drivers still in the pit lane and only now just starting to head onto laps. Duncan Hoffland, though, down in 16th, still with that slight chance of winning the championship. 51 points up for grabs over the final 3 races. Australia tonight, Abu Dhabi in a week, and then finishing at Kota in 2 weeks' time. 51 points up for grabs, only 19 points behind, but cannot afford a bad race. Cannot afford to be starting down in 16th.
No, indeed. I'm keeping an eye on Valentin Thievard, our current last place runner, 25.757. I mean, it's not unfair to say he's only 1.2 seconds off of Harvey Cohen, but that's the difference between first and 18th in this field. Coming to the final turn now. Can the AlphaTauri climb up the field and demote Caden Lute into the bottom? All of those that have set a time, the AlphaTauri is all over the place. Getting through the final turn. What does he get? His 7th with 24.813. Found 9/10 of a second on that run. That's likely to be his last. So who's got any more life in the tyres? Well, Harvey Cohen has done another couple of laps. Why have we got a yellow flag? Because that's one of the Hasses letting someone through. Nothing to worry about there. Everyone except for Tycho Hardy is out on track now, or those that can still set a lap time. Tycho may well just... Oh, no, he's out as well. So all remaining 18 cars are on circuit. Jack West, 24.3. Duncan Hoffman, 24.5. Here we go. Is the Banzai phase in full effect? All the laps are going to come in now. Let's see who's going to come out with the pole position tennis going on now.
I mean, Duncan Hoffman gained half a second in the final sector. You know, it's one of the twistiest parts of the circuit, but... yeah, maybe now we are getting the best of the track conditions. Certainly not anywhere near a set of the slick tyres, but this is where you want to be out. This is where you want to time it to perfection. Has Tycho Hardy done that? We'll wait and see. Boualem Feather, he heads towards the finish line. What can he do? 1:24.006. The times are coming down thick and fast at the moment. You definitely want to be last man to cross the line. Ika Baena, he was leading early on. He's now down in 6th place. Waiting to see what he can do. That's Chanakinchi sliding his way through the final corner. What can the Turkish driver do? No improvement from him on this occasion. Max Wiesel towards the line. Is he just getting ready to start his final flying lap? This is going to be so interesting to see who is going to be able to time this to perfection. Caden Lute warming up his tyres through the final corners. I'd love to tell you how long's left, but we're just getting yellow flags at the moment because everyone is driving so slowly through the final sector. But with 15 seconds to go, I mean, if you're sort of at the back of that train, if you're Christoph Scheller, you're not making it.
Nope. And I was actually riding on board with Tycho Hardy. He passed 5 cars in between turns 12 and 13. So Hoffman has parked it. Ogiano has parked it. They can do no more. As Zeller did not beat the flag, he can do no more. 24.418 this time. He will start no higher than 4th. Everybody else is on a lap. But who is going to be the next one over the line? I think it's... no, it's not Ismail Fast. It's going to be Ika Baena. He's going to be next over the line. What can he do? 8th currently with a 24.655. So 24 flat has been found by Bowden Farrar earlier in this session. The rain, I think, has actually stopped now. So we're going to see 23's Bowden Farrar is in the pit. He can do more. No more. Can Ika Baena steal the top stein? No. 24.028 for our 4th place runner in the championship. Chandler Kinchy 3rd. 24.078 for him. Max Wiesel at 23.895 for the Aston Martin. Who is next? It's one of the Mercs. It's got to be Matt Alder. He's 7th. 24.371. Who is next? It's an Alfa Romeo. Is that Lute? No, he's invalidated his time. It's Drake Dempsey over the line in 2nd at 23.968. They're all rapid fire coming over the line now. Who's next? Will Lewis. It's going to beat 6th at Harvey Cohen at the top of the table. 23.798 for him. Can anybody beat it? I think somebody did, but I didn't see who.
I mean, there were so many cars there towards the end, all on the same bit of track. We were watching Ismail Fassi for a bit. He somehow got himself up into 5th, but he was in all sorts of traffic, and it is Jack West who takes pole position. Had a decent start to the season as a full-time driver. Can he take his first victory of the season as a reserve from pole? Harvey Cohen in 2nd, Max Wiesel in 3rd, Drake Dempsey, his best qualified of the season, in 4th. Ismail Fassi, championship leader, qualified in 5th. Feather, Baena, Akinci, Lewis and Thivard are your top 10. Matthew Alder in 11th with an identical time to Tycho Hardy. Christoph Scheller, Daniel Koyer, Duncan Hoffman, Gianpetro Oggiano, Jordan Poland down in 17th, Caden Lutt 18th, and of course Isfran Pukki and Mirko Soriano failing to set a time in what was a very interesting qualifying session and quite a mixed up grid. We'll be back with the race after the break. Yes, everybody, welcome to Albert Park. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. 5.278 kilometres, 3.279 miles. As we've said, a much changed circuit, and they'll have been hoping they'll have got the opportunity to use some DRS. But, Chris, the weather has returned, and if anything, it looks a tiny bit heavier than it did at the start of qualifying. I mean, we're going to have to be seeing intermediate tyres again.
Yes, I mean, literally, as we were transitioning from quali to race, I said to Luke, I bet it's dry, and then the screen loaded. Wait, oh no, oh dear. The rain doesn't look horrendously bad yet, but we have no idea how the race is going to go. Is it going to dry? Is it going to get worse? We'll find out when the race begins in a few seconds' time.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely fantastic. Just the kind of race you want to head towards the end of the season. Championship contenders not with their best qualifying. We've got 5 lights here at Melbourne. They go out and we're underway from the Australian Grand Prix. What are the starts like? It seems like a pretty reasonable start for McCarthy Cohen there alongside Jack West. Can he challenge on the run down into turn 1? Not in the end. Next Van Pookie able to get back in the session, but it is West, Cohen, Riesel, Dempsey, Fassi, Ferrer, Akinci, Bayenham and Will Lewis having their own little ding-dong battle in the background. Bayenham on the outside, Will Lewis on the inside, on the run down towards turn number 3. And the Haas has got enough grip to just go all the way around the outside at that point of the circuit and could just hold on for now, though it's getting very squirrely indeed. It looks like all 20 cars have managed to get through fairly comfortably at the moment. Coyer and Matthew Older are having their own little battle as Ismail Fassi back towards the front of the field tries to challenge Drake Dempsey, but is unable to do so at the moment. And that's Valentin Thibon, who's had a bit of a moment. He's dropped 6 places. He's the biggest loser on lap number 1. Everyone on a set of intermediate tyres, but no change at the start of the field. It is West, Cohen, Wiesel, Dempsey and Fassi, your top 5.
Kuija briefly had gained 4 places as Matt Alder has just reclaimed that 10th position from the fast-starting AlphaTauri. Also, Jordan Poland has gained 3. Valentin Thivar down 7 from where they began. So the top 6 have remained in their starting positions. And, don't assume it's going to stay that way whatsoever. The rain is quite light at this stage. The cloud cover does look fairly broken up. So might we be seeing dries fairly quickly? We have no idea. Eastman Pookie, he did disconnect from the session in the transition. His car's already back in the pits. He's retired the car. Never mind. So he's that literally could not get any worse for Eastman Pookie. His Ferrari is done for this week. So West, Cohen, Wiesel, Dempsey, top 4 of this race. Not any of them are in the championship battle. Not certainly towards the sharper end. That would be Ismail Fassi. That is the lead car of that group. Fassi, of course, as we said, our championship leader in 5th position, but doesn't need to really do anything. I mean, he'll realise that the 4 ahead of him are not his championship rivals. He could quite happily stay there, but does he want to take that risk? I doubt it. He'll want to get out there and get on with it, but we'll see. Is the rain going to get heavier? Now, drivers know what the weather is. We have no idea. We don't get that information unless somebody tells us. So there will be those that are gambling on the weather if it is going to be changing. We'll see who's going to win out. Max Wiesel dropping quite some distance off the top 2, comparatively speaking. Has he gone for a more drier setup? You put more downforce on for wet weather conditions. But with the exception of Eastman Pookie, who we've lost, all cars are within a second of the one ahead of them so far. But it could change in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, definitely. Still a long, long way to go in this race. Buell and Feather just trying to break the slipstream there. Chanakinchi is well within it. No DRS as we are getting wet conditions, and that is going to make overtaking, I think, pretty much now on impossible in the first few stages. The drivers will be taking it very steady indeed. West, Cohen, Wiesel, Dempsey, Fassi and Feather still as you were from the top 6 on the grid. As we're looking at the championship scenario, if the race finished right now, Ismail Fassi would move on to 76 points and he would be 12 points ahead of Will Lewis, and I think Hoffland and Suriano would certainly be out of things, and Ika Baena would be pretty much almost out of things. That is how close things are at the moment. Akinci all over the back of Ferris, slipstreaming the Algerian in the Alpine. Be a very brave man in dry conditions to go for a move into this turn 9-10 chicane, and Akinci, unsurprisingly, just staying behind for now. No real interest in going for that move. which is understandable. If we're going to get a change in track conditions, you don't want to do anything silly early on, although this is certainly a very nice opportunity for the Turkish driver. Down the inside he goes, gets that move done, goes a bit deep, and Buell Feather, he's able to fight back.
Valentin Thivard's days get even worse. He got turn 9 and 10 all wrong and now falls to the back of the field behind Mirko Soriano. Duncan Hoffman and Jordan Poland were very, very close together in their battle. Oh no, that's Balin Farrar! You literally, as you mentioned his name, he is now in the wall. Valentin Thivard's in the pits. Is that going to be the end of his day? Thivard is actually slowing down. So is this a technical trouble for Balin Farrar? Was he having to give time back? No idea what's going on for him. Jordan Poland is, wow, that is quick to get a track limit warning at this stage. Balin Farrar now getting back underway. Why he was slowing down and going to the back of the field, I don't know. Unless he's having some kind of technical trouble and feeling it's safer to get to the back rather than retire the car straight away. We don't know. Valentin Thivard into the pits, fresh tyres on his car. Quite why, I don't know. I wasn't watching him to see if he had a new nose on the car or anything like that. But he now nearly 20 seconds behind the field. I'll see what he can do with some fresh tyres. Will struggle to slow down into turn 3. So the grip certainly isn't becoming any more comfortable for the drivers out there.
Yeah, Buell and Feather. I mean, let's not forget, Alpine had no points going into last race. Feather and Van Dijken both scoring points for them. Contact between Baena and Feather. And Feather was in the wall. Big damage to his front wing, so he's going to have to come into the pits. I don't think he's going to be too happy about that one, and I'm almost certain we will see that one going to the stewards. We said Max Wiesel was dropping back from Harvey Cohen at the front of the field. Drake Dempsey is also dropping back from Max Wiesel at the moment. Isabel Fassi is getting quite close indeed. The times are still coming down. We don't see, the intermediates wear quite as much. They're all flying around at the moment. 125.9 fastest lap, and you do get a bonus point for that fastest lap if you're in the top 10. We're getting asked, will people be pitting later for slicks? We don't know what the weather is going to do, to be perfectly honest with you. We don't know whether drivers are going to try the entire race on intermediates. We don't know whether they're going to need to go to the...
Farrar has. Farrar's gone on to hards.
I mean... yeah, it's
There's
still,
something to be said for optimism.
It's still raining out there.
It's still raining, yes. That has to be a mistake, surely. I'll keep an eye on how the Alpine's doing. I don't think it's going to be a good day for no, it's not. It just isn't.
I mean, there's your answer to, is the track ready for slicks? Yeah. I don't think we needed a demonstration to prove that we're absolutely nowhere near slick conditions. With the light rain, I'd be surprised. Even if the rain stopped now, I'd be surprised if we're, lap 10 at the latest, at the earliest probably, if the rain stopped now before we got anyone going to a set of the slick tyres. But yeah, that has not worked out whatsoever for Buell and Feather. I can only imagine he had it set to slicks initially and was planning to go onto the dry tyres later, which might give us a hint of what the weather's going to do. But I'm not sure why you'd go for the hard tyres, and also, it's just a bit of a mistake that I think he's made there. A bit of frustration maybe as well with everything that has happened. Although, Ismail Fassi, championship leader, into the pits, and this is also for a set of the slick tyres. And
Oceano's gone soft.
Oceano's in for the soft. Hoffland's in as
yeah. Well, it has actually. It has. Well, that's the thing. It has actually stopped raining. But why would you come in this early? You'd need another couple of laps at least to clear the water that's already down. So this seems absolutely bonkers to me. But these guys know what they're doing. They've practiced this far more than I have. As well, Mirko Soriano has just rather proven that it's too early. As Valentin Thivard has just basically completely mugged the Ferrari, with Thivard still on those slightly fresher intermediate tyres. This will be an interesting test. What's Thivard then? At this point, he's got Ogiano on softs, and then Hoffland and Fassi on hards ahead of him. If he doesn't gain too much, then we're starting to hit that crossover point, which I would think we're a bit early for that. But if the drivers think there's enough grip out there, and God knows how, then they may well be going for it. I'm watching Ogiano now. He's going around the outside of Duncan Hoffman on Lakeside Drive, and the Mercedes had no way of countering it. And here comes Thivard now, and Thivard has to brake in the middle of turn 10 to not slam into the back of Hoffman. But here comes another pair. That's Dempsey and Akinci that have now come in. They're going to be doing the same thing, I would think. Caden Luke getting the new fastest. Yep, medium tyres for Dempsey and hard for Chanakinchi. Here comes Steve Ard on the inside line of Duncan Hofflin through turn 12. It's too early, but we're getting towards that crossover, but in my opinion, it's too early.
I mean, you can see Ismail Fassi was all over the back of Drake Dempsey and was, just ahead of Chanakinchi. You could only just see the McLaren coming out of turn 2 by the time Fassi's braking for turn number 1. I think if you're on the soft tyres, like Oggiano, they're the tyres to be on at the moment. But they ain't getting you to the end of the race, so yeah, just sticking out on intermediates for a couple of more laps was probably the way to go. Now we're seeing Fassi not lose too much time through some of these corners. 27.3 behind the leader. That drops down to 27.4. He's got his tyres up to temperature. We'll keep an eye on this, but he is still losing just a tiny bit of time through some of these corners to the intermediate tyre runners. It's dried out a bit quicker than I expected. It wouldn't surprise me if we see the rest of the runners coming in this lap or next lap now for a set of the slick tyres. It's not looking as bad as it once was, and Thivard's not exactly pulling away from Duncan Hoffland at a massive rate of knots at the moment. And there we go. Jack West has come into the pits. Harvey Cohen stays out there at the moment, and he's looking like one of the very few to stay out there, but he's still setting fastest laps of the race. Cohen now leads this race. Christoph Scheller in second place. Everyone else, excluding Valentin Thivard, who is obviously a bit out of sync with everyone else having had that earlier pit stop. Everyone else is now coming in for a set of the hard tyres, which, has to be the tyre to go for because they're the only ones that are going to get you towards the end of the race.
I'm watching Drake Dempsey. He's just flown up to 7th. Whoa, as Ikabayana couldn't slow down into turn 1. Oh, yellow out and said, well, there's several people that have gone off at turn 1 as well. So Jack West up into 4th now with the hard tyres on. Now, Drake Dempsey, he's getting the hammer down at certain points, but he still looks quite uncomfortable. Valentin Thivard is in now to get rid of his intermediate tyres. So it's just the top 3 then that have yet to come in. Harvey Cohen, well, he's got 8 seconds over Zeller. Now Oggiano has just given Tycho Hardy something else to think about. Duncan Hoffland has swapped places with Chanakinchi. Oh, that McLaren is missing its nose. So we're now getting to a point with the soft. There we go. That's always the biggest indicator when DRS becomes available. Now get rid of the intermediate tyres. Cohen is in. Christoph Zeller is coming in along with Jordan Poland. You'd be silly not to now because it's very little. Whoa! As the Williams nearly blocks the pit lane, getting very, very sideways through the pit lane entrance. Now, where is Harvey Cohen going to reappear in relation to Jack West? Jack West is coming through the final turn. The McLaren is just leaving the pit lane with a bit of a wiggle as he does. And he's got the race lead. That's Jack West in behind him, but he's gone too deep, which is the common thing. Oh my goodness, it's a good thing Harvey Cohen goes to that point because Jack West literally just plowed through him. Jack West back into the lead. Drake Dempsey now in 3rd.
Drake Dempsey now in 3rd, but I think he's going to have to make a pit stop. Likewise with Gianpetro Oggiano. We saw Ismail Fassi trying to pull off some fantastic moves on Matthew Older. Round the outside at turn number 9.
No! Oggiano's round. The soft shod Mercedes has now plummeted through the field. He's had an incident at turn 3.
Yeah, Oggiano going round. I mean, Harvey Cohen, it was a fantastic overcut, but you've just got no grip when you go into turn number 1 on that inside line. Just couldn't get past.
Big incident there for Poland. Poland slams into the wall and the exit of turn 8. Big damage to the Williams. Sorry again, Luke. I'm cutting you off here, there and everywhere.
Yeah, no worries. I think it just shows how close everyone is at the moment. And offline, the grip's still not quite where you would like it to be. But Jordan Poland, somehow that has not led to a retirement and a safety car. Valentin Thivard, he's lost the
Thivard's now.
These are going to be the busiest marshals, anywhere in the southern hemisphere at the moment, trying to clear all this debris up. Valentin Thivard loses his front wing. Akinchi's been in. Again, Boole and Feathers had a front wing change. It is absolute carnage at the moment, but leading it all, fastest lap of the race, Jack West at the moment. Drake Dempsey quickly beats that. Dempsey's got to get a move on here. He's got to get his skates on. Those mediums, I don't think they're lasting towards the end of the race, so he has to push like crazy, and you can see how much he's pushing round the outside of Harvey Cohen. Done well before we get to the braking zone. That is the young American up into 2nd.
Yeah, Harvey, went to the inside line, but knew he didn't need to defend that too hard. Yeah, Jordan Poland's parked it. I figured he might. So that's 2 cars now retired from this race. But also, think about the championship connotations here. Before, Ismail Farsi was up into 5th. His championship rivals behind him. Now that is completely turned on his head. Farsi in 10th. Will Lewis, his next chief rival, is in 6th. With Hoffland, where is Duncan Hoffland? He's in 13th. So he's not going to be worrying Ismail Farsi just yet. But Will Lewis is in a great position now. If the race were to finish at this point, we'd be almost neck and neck, I think, heading into Abu Dhabi next week.
Yeah, just going to try and quickly do the maths. Fastest lap's Drake Dempsey at the moment, so we don't have to worry about that one. Ismail Fassi would be on 72 points. Will Lewis would be on 67 points, so just 5 between them going into the final 2 races. Duncan Hoffland, he'd obviously drop down behind Ika Baena, who would be on 56 points, so he'd still have he'd be back within a race win all of a sudden. But there's a long way to go. We're only just on to lap number 11. Still 19 laps to go here at PSGL F2 PC tier for the Australian Grand Prix. Jack West in the lead, Drake Dempsey in second place, trying to push himself back within DRS range of our race leader. Cohen, Wiesel, Baena, Lewis, Koya, Older, Scheller, and Ismail Fassi, the rest of the drivers that are in the points. Looking at the penalty situation, just 3 seconds for Caden Lutt at the moment. Jordan Poland did have quite a few, but he's retired. Divard had 5 seconds to be added on from the last race. He has also retired, so I don't believe that will carry on for a further race. He should be fine for that one now. Akinci setting the fastest lap of the race on those medium tyres. Far more like the times that we are starting to see. I mean, what are the drivers going to do now? Because they're pretty much stuck on this until the end of the race. So now I think we're going to get a bit more of a calm period. And then final 10 laps, probably when the chaos starts.
Yeah, 100% so. Now, I'm looking at Will Lewis. He's just shy of 3 seconds behind Ika Baena with about 33% in the Red Bull's battery. Daniel Koya right behind with Matt Alder almost falling out of DRS range. Of course, that's now a much bigger consideration. So Will Lewis hasn't got anyone to boost off of. Ika Baena, less than 20% in the battery, and his fuel light is on. So, Ika Baena is going to have to back off. The Spaniard, he's going to have to slow that car down at some point. As in comes the Petro Orgiano has just destroyed that Mercedes getting into the pit lane. That's another retirement. 4 down. We're not going to have anybody left at this rate when the checkered flag falls. But Jack West is in a tier of 1 right now. He's 1.7 seconds ahead of the rest and not showing any signs of slowing down. Tyre management? He scoffs at such things. He's off. And Jan Akinci isn't managing his tyres either. He's just out there on his own, just setting the fastest laps ablaze. I'm keeping an eye also on Drake Dempsey. What is he going to do? Like you say, he hasn't a hope in hell of making those medium tyres last that long, unless the weather is going to turn back to rain. If that's the case, I'm surprised not more people went for softer compounds. But you're playing Russian roulette with the weather. Then, if we are going to face rain again, you're gambling on when it's going to fall. So, we'll see. There's Jan Akinci pushing a little bit too hard. Adds his name to the penalty board. As we are now completing lap 12. We still have over half the race to do.
Yeah, there's been so much action already in this race. We've had 4 retirements. We've had, weather changing. We haven't had a VSC or a safety car yet. Touch wood. Hopefully, we do get green flag action all the way through. And I'm sure that's what the drivers will be hoping for. Caden Lutt using his DRS to full effect there. Down the inside into turn number 1 on Tycho Hardy. And because of the nature of that DRS zone, you get a boost to help defend in towards turn number 3 as well. So we won't see the man from the PlayStation platform fighting back. And that is Caden Lutt up into 11th place now. But with that 3-second penalty, getting any points is going to be a bit of a difficulty indeed. There's so much intrigue going on. Jan Akinci still pushing as hard as possible, obviously, on those medium tyres. Are we going to see any more rain towards the end of the race? It still looks very overcast as we go on board with Caden Lutt at the moment. Max Wiesel all over the back of Harvey Cohen for that final podium slot as Aston Martin tried to keep themselves in the Constructors' Championship hunt at the moment. They would keep the battle going on towards the next race, but would only close the gap by 1 on Haas. Not really enough for what they need to do, as that is a massive slide there from Max Wiesel, losing the rear coming through turn number 12. The gap now remaining pretty constant between West and Dempsey. You've got to think, though, in the next few laps, those hard tyres are going to come into their own, and Dempsey might just struggle to keep Cohen, Wiesel and Baena behind.
I would think so, but we will see. There's still a number of unknowns in this race. We haven't had any updates on what the weather is doing. I think the drivers are a little busy right now to try and update us about that. In fairness to Dempsey, he's still keeping the pace up. Ikebayeno is actually doing a really good job of rebuilding his ERS. He's over 40% now, or just about 40% in the battery. So he's done a great job of just slowly building the back up as Tycho Hardy and Caden Lute are continuing their argument now with added Duncan Hoffman in the Aston Martin, shoving the Alfa Romeo along. He wants to get on with it and chase off after Ismail Farsi. Remember that Duncan Hoffman is third in the championship. He's still got a bit of an outside chance, but that outside chance becomes much more difficult to contend with. Finishing in 13th, is he going to try? No, he backed out of that drive coming through Lakeside Drive. Not surprised. It would have been horrendously bad if he tried to move that late through Lakeside Drive. But he's now staring at the back of Caden Lute and Tycho Hardy. The pair of them now 3 seconds near enough behind Ismail Farsi and that particular train up to 6th.
Yeah, they need to get a bit of a move on at the moment. Duncan Hoffman, if he'd have been a bit closer coming through the 9-10 chicane, he might have been able to take advantage of a little bit of a wobble that Caden Lute's had, and again, Lute not ideal coming through the final couple of corners, but he's got the DRS, and that will help him defend all the way down as Christoph Scheller manages to get ahead of Matthew Older. So that is a move in the points places, and this train's breaking up. Will Lewis and Daniel Coyer are breaking away from Scheller, Older, and Fassi there, so this could be very intriguing. The weather early on seems to have put a bit more of a split in the field than what you were used to seeing. I compare this to quite a few races we've had this season where you've normally had 10, 11, 12 car DRS trains pretty much all the way through the race, and 1 3-second time penalty can drop you a long way down the order. But if things are a bit different here, Jack West on his own at the front of the field. Then you've got the group being led by Drake Dempsey. Will Lewis and Daniel Coyer were on their own, but Christoph Scheller's managed to get back in contact as Ismail Fassi, he is going to go round the outside at Lakeside Drive, and he's a long way ahead before we even get towards turn number 9 and 10. Fassi up into 9th place. Matthew Older with not a lot of DRS. Well, he's now got the DRS, not a lot of ERS, but clearly struggling with some pace issues.
Well, that was brave. You've really got to trust the person you're passing if you're going to make a move through Lakeside Drive. You know, very, very high-speed section of this circuit. If it goes wrong there, it goes wrong in a very, very big way. But also joining the little train from Tycho Hardy back is Mirko Soriano. The remaining Ferrari now has joined in, or will join in this particular party soon. Now, Hoffland is ahead of Caden Lute. Can he get Tycho Hardy? Knocking down into turn 1, he won't. So the Aston Martin still trying to press on, but the gap is continuing to increase between themselves and now Matt Older as the Mercedes nearly nudges the back of the championship leader. Whoa, gets a bit squiggly coming out of turn 4, and that's Harvey Cohen. That's going to be painful. Exactly as you was explaining, Luke, a 3-second penalty when the field is that closely condensed is not going to go well. Max Wiesel now on the outside of Lakeside Drive on the aforementioned McLaren. Can he get it done? Harvey Cohen is having none of it as Max Wiesel has to back out of that. They're still in DRS range of Drake Dempsey, and that's actually going to help Ika Bayena get involved. Here comes the Aston Martin once again on the inside line, coming down towards turn 12, and that is job done. Turn 11, beg your pardon, and that is third for Max Wiesel. Nicely done. Harvey Cohen knew he couldn't defend that one. Ika Bayena looks on and is ready to join in the party, but the more they fight, that's now going to help shorten the gap between themselves and Will Lewis.
Yeah, certainly, and I can only think that started with Cohen probably having a bit of an issue through 6, 7 and 8 where he got the penalty. Bit of a bad run. Max Wiesel couldn't make it work round the outside, but had to force Harvey Cohen offline, and with not a lot of ERS, the power of the slipstream, Cohen didn't really have a chance there, and that is Max Wiesel up into the podium places. We'll see if he has any more success at attacking the Alfa Romeo of Drake Dempsey. Jack West, though, now he's just having his own little race. It's a nice little relaxing drive around the streets of Melbourne. 2.2 seconds the gap. Could we see Jack West take his first victory in a PCT here? Drake Dempsey second, Max Wiesel third, Cohen, Bayena, Lewis, Coyer, Scheller, Fassi, Older. Those are the drivers that are in the points at the moment. Tycho Hardy, Duncan Hoffland, Caden Lutz, Mirko Soriano, Bualen Ferrer, Shanna Kinchy, the rest of the runners. We have lost Oggiano, Poland, Thivard and Pookie. Still with 13 laps to go. Who knows what is going to happen in this race, as that is Caden Lutz taking advantage of a bit of a bad run. Well, Mirko Soriano, taking advantage of a bit of a bad one from Caden Lutz. He moves himself up in towards 13th place.
That he does, keeping an eye on this battle for second at the moment. They may choose to just bide their time a little bit more now, manage the tyres, keep going through the kilometres. As Jack West just opening that gap just slightly, doesn't need to really open it up any further. 2.5 seconds is more than enough to make sure that he's not going to be under any immediate pressure, but you always have the danger of a safety car, especially here. With the nature of the circuit, if somebody has a big incident, that's almost certainly a safety car. The car is then retired from the race. Because the incidents we've had, the cars have been able to continue. So no need for a safety car yet. But there's always a clear and present danger at a street circuit or any street circuit. Melbourne is, of course, no difference. You get a car in, straight sideways across the circuit, there's your lead gone.
Yeah, indeed. And Baena, he's looking pretty close here to the back of Harvey Cohen. We've seen his teammate go for it round the outside at turn number 9. We're going to see Ika Baena do it all the way round the outside. Take a bow. Baena makes it work. But Harvey Cohen's got a pretty good exit, and he's going to be challenging on the run down towards turn 11. Can't quite do it. Ika Baena gets himself up into 4th. He'd got the place anyway, but I think he knows that Cohen's just struggling with his pace at the moment, and he needed to get that move done to stay on the back of Dempsey and Wiesel. And the gap between this train and the next one being led by Will Lewis is down to 2 seconds all of a sudden as Drake Dempsey pits from second place off of those medium tyres. He'll be able to go on to another set of mediums, but this is dropping him all the way down the order. A bit of a gamble with the strategy. I think you can safely say it's not worked out.
No, indeed. He was either banking on the well, I can imagine if the weather isn't going to turn, he was gambling on a safety car, which did not arrive. So down into 14th then for Drake Dempsey, and totally on his own. He is very much behind his, was 6.5 seconds behind his teammate, who is the tail end of that 4-car train for 10th position. The Tyker Hardy still leads. Duncan Hoffman wasn't able to continue his run through that. Only 1.6 seconds separates Will Lewis from Harvey Cohen then. So the Red Bull just minding his own business has just been, again, slowly nibbling away at that gap. We're starting to see some shadows. The sun's beginning to break through in some parts of the circuit. That's usually an indication that we're not going to see the rain in the remainder of the race as Jack West continues on. Oh, that's trouble, and that's Caden Lute out. Oh no, that's an incident on the exit of turn 10. He's overdone it and thrown that one into the wall. What did I say? What did I say about the safety car? And the man who's called out is our race leader. Jack West couldn't commit to the pit lane entrance. Everybody behind him has all come in. Oh no, Jack!
That is so cruel. Jack West couldn't go past the belt. I almost wonder, would it be worth him just cutting the pit entrance and taking the 5-second penalty? Jack West couldn't do that. He's now caught the safety car up. Everyone else gets a free pit stop, and all that good work for nothing. All for naught. He's on old hard tyres, and he is now going to have one of the hardest jobs I think I've ever seen in league racing. If he somehow comes out of this race with a podium, never mind a victory, just sticking on the podium, sticking in the top end of the points, sticking in the points at all, is going to be a big challenge for Jack West. He is going to be absolutely gutted at what has just happened. Caden Luke crashes out, the safety car comes out, and it's too late for West to come into the pit lane, and everybody else gets a free pit stop. Someone has gone for something different. They're nearly all on the medium tyres. Channa Kinch has gone to a set of hards. I wonder whether we'll see him back into the pits for a set of mediums. But Max Wiesel has gone for a set of the soft tyres. Very interesting indeed.
It's a gamble. At this late stage, it's not impossible. They will not be very comfortable by the end. But of course, he's hoping that safety car stays out there for a little while. It's not a particularly long lap here in Melbourne. Oh, you gotta feel sorry for Jack, though. He just, whether he hesitated just that slightly bit too long, maybe he anticipated he'd have known that there was an incident, because all drivers are notified same way that we are. But whatever. I wasn't looking at Jack at that particular moment. I was looking to see what happened to Caden, as he just looked like he got a little bit too wide on the exit of turn 10, as his wreckage was found on the infield on the right-hand side of the track, looking at it from the driver's perspective. Oh my, oh my. Well, let's look at the championship connotations then. So Jack West, sad to say, is likely just to plummet at this point. So Max Wiesel is in 6th in the championship. Not realistic for him to consider to be in the championship fight, but Ika Bayena most certainly is. Harvey Cohen is very much not in the championship fight, but he's having a good run nonetheless. However, he is carrying that 3-second penalty, so we can count him out. Drake Dempsey, well, talk about reversal of fortune. Again, Drake is not in the championship fight either, but considering he taken that risk on the safety car, he probably would have hoped it had arrived a little bit earlier than it did, but either way, he's now in a strong position. But Will Lewis, 6th place, probably going to be 5th if Jack falls far enough in the order. Matt Alder, Christoph Zetter, and Ishmael Farsi is in 10th, and now safety car is in. Well, Max Wiesel, I think you're going to have some very horrible tyres by the end of this. Jack West tyres will be okay, but they're not going to give him anywhere near the amount of grip that everybody screaming up behind him is going to. Safety car in this time. Jack West leads the race. Oh, he'll be willing that checker flag to come out much earlier than it's inevitably going to.
He's just got to hope he can catch Max Wiesel out here and not give Max a run. Not just into turn 1, but I think also turn number 3 and then later on into the lap. If Max wants to go around the outside at turn number 9, I don't think there's going to be a lot Jack West is going to be able to do about it. Taking it very slowly indeed. This is going to be a fascinating final 9 laps here at Melbourne. Let us know in the chat, what do you think the top 3 is going to be like in this race? Can Jack West hold on? Will Max Wiesel's tyres hold on? Will Ika Bayena get the victory, or will it be someone completely different indeed? West is leaving it very late indeed to drop the hammer down. As long as you don't accelerate and brake, it is completely your prerogative to go for things whenever you want. And he has gone for it now. Jack West breaks away, leads the field. Daniel Coyer has predicted that to absolute perfection.
Wow.
Jump straight Dempsey and Will Lewis. There's all sorts of battling happening in the background, but in the foreground, Wiesel and West. Wiesel on the outside. Can he go all the way round? Look how much grip he's got, and somehow West is trying to hold on with all his might, but I feel like he is just delaying the inevitable here. West leads, Wiesel in 2nd place, Bayena 3rd, Cohen 4th, Coyer in 5th place, and still the Aston Martin can't find a way through. But now we're going to see the extra pace, I think. Now we're going to see the grip. Now we're going to see the slipstream. No DRS until lap number 24. First time they'll be able to use that will be on the run to turn number 11. Can Max Wiesel go all the way round the outside? Can he go down the inside? I think he knows that move was never really going to work, but surely, Wiesel is going to get this done. Matthew Older with a 3-second time penalty, and still Jack West trying to hold on the inside, and I don't think round the outside there is quite going to work. He's going to be on the outside for the next corner, gets the move done. Wiesel leads the race, and Bayena's off the track.
My goodness me, Harvey Cohen then capitalising on Ika Bayena, going a little bit wide. Now as the Spaniard on the outside line of the final turn. Can Harvey Cohen get the gas down any earlier? Not quite. Max Wiesel leads. Jack West only just hanging on to DRS range. Not that matters right now, but you know what I mean. He's just about staying in there as Bayena is forced wide. Coming through turn 1, here comes Koijo, who's had this absolute restart of the gods. Now up into 4th position in the AlphaTauri, or nearly as Ika Bayena in the house has just about and only just managed to fend off the ever-fast starting Koijo. Will Lewis and Drake Dempsey were side by side for most of the restarting lap. Will Lewis has managed to get the Red Bull up into 6th position. Now sizing up the AlphaTauri for 5th place. And already Max Wiesel has got 2 seconds. He's leaving nothing on the table. He's burning those tyres to absolute canvas. So, oh my goodness, further back, Soriano and Tycho Hardy and Matt Alder. Oh my goodness me, that's Hardy and Alder off as they come through turn 9 and 10 sideways, or certainly side by side. Cohen has just got past Jack West. It is going off all over the place.
Yeah, it seems to be, obviously, that final sector so tight, so twisted. Jack West just can't get the power down, and he's really struggling. Coming out of turn number 11, that's where he's lost the places both times around. Max Wiesel, we've only done 2 laps. He's 3 seconds ahead at the moment. Sets the fastest lap of the race. DRS has been re-enabled. We're on the board with a man who, as it stands at the moment, with Cohen having that 3-second time penalty, would take a place on the podium. And that is Ika Baena all over the back of Jack West, but not close enough at the moment to go for a move. Ismail Fassi, he's gaining that period. He's now up to 9th place. Mirko Soriano, after a qualifying ban, he's in the points all of a sudden in 10th. Duncan Hoffland in 11th. Those 3, one of them the championship leader, the other 2 need a very good race indeed to stay in championship contention, and it looks like it's going to be an absolutely superb race at the moment for Matthew Older, for Max Wiesel, sorry. He is leading. Harvey Cohen in 2nd place. Ika Baena on the back of Jack West. He's pulled one move off at the outside at turn number 9. I feel like he's about to give it another one here. Medium tyres versus the hards. Baena gets it done. He is up into 3rd and can now chase after Cohen and Wiesel.
Yeah, Daniel Corja had a great ringside seat for Ika Baena to, fairly easily dispatch of Jack. Has put the race leader, or former race leader, out of podium prospect now with 5 laps on the board remaining. It's just a sinking feeling for the Alpine, but what can you do? That's the nature of the beast. Safety car, give it the safety car, take it away. Jack West nearly threw it into the wall. Here comes Koya in the AlphaTauri. Thought about an inside manoeuvre into turn 1, but he surely is going to size up a move into turn 3. Will Lewis looks on as well. And there goes Koya. Should be able to easily get that one done. Yes, he does. And as much as Jack West defended the inside line, of course, which he is perfectly entitled to do, there's nothing left. He's got no firepower left in those tyres to be able to defend with. Will Lewis, the next in line to try and do something about it. A terrible exit. Oh, a very quick change of direction there through turn 8 for Will Lewis. You can see that Jack was just struggling so much to get any power down onto the road. And that's 5th now for Will Lewis. What Will would hope for is that those behind him struggle to get past the Alpine, but I don't think Drake Dempsey's going to struggle. Inside line for Jack. Oh, that's just about a car's width for the Alfa Romeo to go through. Jack West is defending and pushes Drake off the road. Oh my goodness me, Zella is through. Fassi. Where is Fassi? Oh my goodness. As Dempsey is off. Oh, Fassi is in trouble. He's gone caught out. He's now down to 11th. Marcus Soriano's gone through, as so has Duncan Hoffland. It is getting really messy behind Jack West.
Oh, it's absolute carnage at the moment. West, I think that was forcing Dempsey off track slightly. Mirko Soriano with a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. He might get that removed because that did look a bit like carnage happening in the background. West, Dempsey, Hoffland, Soriano, Fassi, Ferrer. Oh my word, it is all just kicking off here. Hardy and Older are having their own little battle further back as well. Who knows how this is going to end up. I think at the front of the race, we've got a pretty good idea. Max Wiesel is now 2.5 seconds ahead with 4 laps to go. As long as he's kept his soft tyres in good enough shape, he should take the victory. And let's not forget, Harvey Cohen has got a penalty as well. Right, take number 2 for Drake Dempsey. The issue is he's burned up a lot of his ERS, and I feel like he's going to have to do some defending here, because this is going to be Duncan Hoffland going all the way around the outside at turn number 9. That's the inside for turn number 10. Hoffland says thank you very much. Hoffland takes 8th place. We'll see if he's able to fight back. And there's Mirko Soriano round the outside at turn number 11 on Drake Dempsey, who was in 2nd place earlier on. It has not gone well for him after looking like his hopes were getting shattered earlier on. Looked like he was back to having a great chance. He might do well now to stay in the points. Hoffland in 8th, Soriano in 9th place, and Ismail Fassi, he'll be wanting to get past Drake Dempsey as soon as possible, because as things stand at the moment, Will Lewis is on for a potential 4th place.
He is indeed, unless he can climb any further in these final 3 laps. We will see. Keeping an eye further back, Duncan Hoffland is now staring at the back of Jack West, and Jack just about hanging on to DRS range off the back of Christoph Zeller. So Ismail Fassi, I'm wondering whether there's damage on his car, because that gap is opening between himself and Drake Dempsey. So is that Haas wounded? No idea. The end plates are there. I think the end plates are there anyway. There's so much going on. Yeah, the end plates are still on the Haas. Is Paulin Farrar now bearing in mind the battling for up, his game crashed before the lab even began. So, oh, there we go. That's Fassi on Dempsey coming through late side drive. So, ignore that. If there is damage, he's dealing with it. That's Fassi up into 10th. Whoa, battling for hard to get out of that. He's saving himself clashing into the wall. There's still plenty of action to go. I think Max Wiesel's just managing it now. That gap is coming down between himself and Harvey Cohen. But Max will see that the McLaren has got the penalty. He doesn't need to push. He just needs to bring it home.
Yeah, 2 more laps to go then for Max Wiesel to claim his first victory of the season. And what a win it would be. Came so close a couple of races ago. Let's not forget him and Ismail Fassi had a fantastic battle. Can he finally get that win here? Mirko Soriano, he's up into 8th, but will have that 5-second penalty, which I'm certain he will try and get removed at the end of this race. Will Lewis, he's all over the back of Daniel Coyer at the moment for a potential podium place, let's not forget, and that would really shoot things open in the championship.
Oh no!
Further back, and that is Older, Hardy, and Akinci, I think, that have been involved in something.
I think Hardy and Alder came together. Akinci was sort of nearby. I didn't see how that happened. I just saw that they were together as cars were being ghosted and what have you. But yeah, I would think as you say, Will Lewis staring at a potential podium. Fassi has gotten through Jack West now, so that's 9th to the championship leaders. Christoph Zeller gives himself a penalty. That is going to be crucial for the likes of Hoffland, Soriano and Fassi. That's going to be very, very painful for Christoph Zeller. 2 laps, not even that, 1 and a bit laps remaining. Max Wiesel's got 1.5 seconds to play with now. He's got no ERS, but then neither does Cohen. Ika Bayena's got a bit more he can push with, but like I said, I think Max Wiesel's absolutely fine. He's just bringing it home. Doesn't need to push, doesn't need to do anything silly. But Will Lewis will be feeling the pressure a little bit. He's got 30% of the battery. He needs to get on with it if he wants to look at a potential podium.
Yeah, indeed. Ika Bayena, I thought he had a wonderful opportunity to get ahead of Harvey Cohen. Had a massive slide, though, through the final corner, so not to be for him. And you never know what could happen at the front of the field. You never know if anything's going to happen to Max Wiesel or any of the others in this race. But it all looks to be just about calming down for now. We are on board with Ika Bayena closing to Harvey Cohen. Maybe he thinks that Cohen could get this penalty removed. Maybe we're going to see another overtake all the way around the outside at turn number 9. Nothing doing on this occasion, and that has compromised Bayena, and that has given Daniel Coyer a bit of an opportunity all of a sudden. Things just calming down on this final lap of the race, and it is Max Wiesel trying to bring it home on those worn soft tyres in the final few laps. Dempsey gets ahead of Jack West for the final points place, and they're still having their own battle in the background, but it is going to be a win for Aston Martin. A bit of a surprise win halfway through the race. It is Max Wiesel who takes the victory here tonight. Ika Bayena, Daniel Coyer round out the podium. Will Lewis jumps ahead of Harvey Cohen. Duncan Hoffland, after starting way down at the back of the field, comes home in 6th, Fassi 7th, Scheller 8th, Dempsey 9th, and Soriano, despite that 5-second penalty, brings home the final point. But it is the first victory of the season for Max Wiesel.
Wow, what a turnaround. No argument with that either. Daniel Coyer, his restarts were absolutely electrifying. So fair play to him, but you've got to give it to Max. He did everything right in the closing stages of that race. Does he bring him into championship contention? Well, we'll see when the maths is done. I think it's still going to be too far of an outside shot for him to gun for the top spot, but he can certainly make people think about it as we head to the penultimate round next time out in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, such a fascinating race. I think there's so many things that we're going to have to try and digest from that one because, Jack West, we're going to have to feel so sorry for him. Who knows what could have happened with him, but unfortunately, that's just one of the things that you've got to sometimes deal with in racing. He came out unlucky today. Max Wiesel went for a set of the... Ooh.
I've just seen that.
Oh, well, the provisional results, shall we say, for this race. Max Wiesel takes the victory and the fastest lap. Ika Bayena 2nd, Daniel Coyer in 3rd place, Will Lewis in 4th, Harvey Cohen 5th, Duncan Hoffland in 6th, Ismail Fassi in 7th place, means he is now If I very quickly do the maths, I believe he is now 5 points ahead still of Will Lewis and Ika Baena right back into things as well. Christoph Scheller 8th, Derek Dempsey in 9th place, Mirko Soriano 10th. Outside of the points were Buell Ferrer, Tycho Hardy, Channa Kinty, Jack West, Matthew Alder, and the retirements, Caden Lutz, bringing out that safety car, of course, after crashing at turn number 10. We saw Gian Petro Oggiano, Jordan Poland, Valentin Thibord, and Istvan Pukki retire in the pit lane. And talking of the pit lane, we are hearing that Max Wiesel may have cut the pit line. If he did so, probably going to be a slam dunk penalty and probably going to be a victory for Ika Baena.
I mean, that is a slam dunk penalty. There's no two ways about it. So, oh dear. That has further championship connotations if that is the case. But that's up to the stewards to decide. That is not up to us. And I don't want to be going anywhere near that, if I'm honest. So we've invited our drivers to come and have a chat to us. Our podium 3, I should say. It's up to them. It's not mandatory for them to come and have a chat. It is always nice, though, to have a chat with our drivers to see how they're feeling after the race and heading into the final 2s. Abu Dhabi next time around. What's your thoughts on that one, Mr. Etheridge?
I mean, again, it's another circuit where I massively prefer the new layout. They've got rid of that goddamn awful chicane, which just ruined all the momentum as it came out of the first sector. And the banked final corner, I mean, the chicane before provided overtaking, but, you know, it was always a bit fiddly, always felt a bit Mickey Mouse, and always felt like it had the potential to cause a bit of chaos. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what everyone can do at Abu Dhabi, which, obviously, with the situation in the championship at the moment, could well be a championship decider. If Ismail Fassi takes a victory, and Will Lewis is, I believe, outside the top, we'll just try and quickly do the maths, I think outside of the top 4 places, possibly, we might be seeing the championship go the way of Ismail Fassi, but obviously, still a lot of work to do. Yet to get any of the drivers in, so we can't really hear how they feel, but I think we know how one driver will be feeling, and Jack West is going to be absolutely gutted.
Yeah, 14th he came home in the end, and he did nothing wrong. He was just so unlucky. Yeah, if he was, a card's length or 2 car lengths back, he'd have been able to cut just about into the pit lane, and his race would have been absolutely fine. But that's the nature of the beast. Every driver has benefited and every driver has lost out due to safety cars and what have you. What can you say? Sad to see, but that's racing.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying before, it's just one of those things, that sort of happens. It's something that is completely outside of your control, but something that drivers have just got to deal with at times. The racing gods sometimes have different plans for you. So yeah, such a shame. We're not going to be able to hear from our race winner, so we'll just wait and see whether we do get anything from Daniel Koya or Ika Baena. I mean, let's talk about the restart. Jack West left it very late, which he was always going to do, and it looks like Daniel Koya just predicted when Jack was going to go, got it absolutely right, didn't make any illegal overtakes, and gained 2 places.
That must have been pixel perfect. I was riding on board with he was battling with Drake at the time, Will Lewis, and Will was on the inside, on the left-hand side, so the outside for turn 1, Drake in the middle, and suddenly a wild Daniel Koya appears on the inside line and perfectly nails the apex. Nowhere for the other 2 to go, and then Will tries to box Drake behind the ever-charging Daniel. It was an insane restart, but wow, did he make it work?
Yeah, definitely did make it work. It doesn't look like, unfortunately, we are going to get hold of Ika or Daniel as well, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, it's close enough in the championship. Ika's just said, Isma, sorry, he's just said, I've never been so bad. Managed again after a race which didn't look as though it was going to give anything for him. Things could have been a lot worse than 7th place in the end. He's still leading the championship, but get a feeling that he needs a good result soon.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that Spa last time out was not a good point score. Yeah, he was looking fairly good. I'm looking at Fassi, beg your pardon. Yeah, Baena was on the podium last time out, but following 3 0-point races, that's a difficult deficit to make back. So we will see. Yep, and like you said, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to chat to our podium 3 this time out. But are we in for a fantastic season finale over the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, Abu Dhabi next week and then Kota to follow that. Championship as it stands at the moment, before any penalties, before, any penalties get removed as well. Let's not forget, because it wouldn't surprise me if Soriano's does. Ismail Fassi now on 75 points. Will Lewis is on 70. Ika Baena on 62. So he is now back within a race victory. I think Hofland and Soriano still have that very slim mathematical chance as well. So can't wait to see what happens there. If you want some more PSGL PC action, we have got F3 live right now. So make sure to check that one out with Joshua Birch and Richie. That will be live and just coming towards the end of qualifying. There's the rest of the PC tiers as well, which are just finishing or just starting. There's PlayStation action on the Monday with Jess Ball and Aidan Carter taking you through the top tier. Of course, PCF1 made its return with Barry Bowman taking a victory there. Let's see what they can do at their next race on Wednesday, as George Morgan and Jack Canaan will be taking you around Abu Dhabi before we are back on the Thursday. And hopefully, we're going to have another fascinating race. I can't see us getting any weather at Abu Dhabi, but you never know what could happen, especially in league racing. Will we see a champion crowned next week? There's only one way to find out, and that is to join us. Thanks to Chris for joining me in the commentary box. Thanks to our sponsors here, GT Omega. Make sure to check those out. Use the code PSGL to get 5% off. And thanks so much, everyone, for watching. We will see you in a week's time at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.